I was managing the front desk at a boutique hotel in Copenhagen when an American couple checked in at 2 p.m. The man immediately asked how my day was going. I said fine and handed him the room keys. He looked confused and asked again, with more emphasis, how I was really doing. I repeated that I was fine. He turned to his wife and said loudly, "See, honey, Europeans are so cold. They don't even answer when you're being friendly." I had answered. Twice. He then asked what I did for fun, where I was from originally, if I liked working here, and whether I had any hobbies. These were not small talk questions. These were interview questions. I'm trying to check in 4 other guests. He seemed offended that I wasn't engaging in a full conversation about my personal life. His wife touched his arm and whispered that maybe Danish people are just private. He shook his head and said, "No, customer service means being friendly. That's universal." He left a 1-star review saying the staff was robotic and unwelcoming. I had answered every question he asked. I just didn't share my childhood dreams. Most people just tell these stories. I tracked the psychology underneath. Why interactions like this happen everywhere, every day. If you notice those patterns too, you'll want to subscribe. Last month, a woman in Amsterdam asked her Uber driver about his family within 30 seconds of getting in the car. He gave a polite, short answer. She spent the entire 15-minute ride explaining that in America, we actually care about each other as people. He was Dutch. Caring about strangers doesn't require their family medical history. Another American in a Stockholm coffee shop got upset when the barista didn't compliment her shoes. She told her friend, loud enough for everyone to hear, that Europeans don't know how to make someone's day. And that was just Tuesday. I work at a train station information desk in Munich. An American woman approached and asked how I was doing this morning. I said good morning and asked how I could help. She repeated the question, slower this time, like I hadn't understood English. I said I was fine and asked again what she needed. She sighed and said, "In America, when someone asks how you are, you're supposed to ask them back. It's called manners." I explained that I was working and ready to help with her train question. She said she just wanted to know the platform for Frankfurt, but found it really rude that Germans don't engage in basic courtesy. I told her platform 7. She said, "See, was that so hard? You could have asked about my day too." I've been traveling for 12 hours. I told her I hoped her journey improved and to have a nice trip. She walked away muttering about German coldness. My job is train information, not emotional support. A different American man got visibly annoyed when I didn't respond to, "How's it going?" with my own question. He actually stopped and said, "This is why everyone thinks Europeans are unfriendly. You can't even do basic back and forth." I asked if he needed help with tickets. He said, "I needed basic human interaction, but I guess that's too much to ask." He needed the ticket office. I pointed him to it. He said thank you, but made it sound like an insult. The following week, an American college student asked how my weekend was. When I said it was fine and asked about her travel plans, she seemed disappointed I didn't elaborate. She told me Americans actually share when asked questions. I told her which trains went to Prague. She said the conversation felt transactional. That's because it is a transaction. This is a ticket counter. Most channels would stop here at the laugh, but this isn't just humor. It's anthropology. If that distinction clicks for you, you belong here. I work at a pharmacy in Brussels. An American man came in asking for aspirin and immediately launched into a story about his headache, his flight, his hotel problems, and his wife's opinion on Belgian chocolate. I nodded politely and got his aspirin. He seemed hurt that I wasn't asking follow-up questions. He said, "In the States, the pharmacist actually talks to you like a person. I am talking to him. I'm just not his therapist." He asked where I was from, if I liked Brussels, what I thought of American tourists, and whether Belgian healthcare was actually good or just propaganda? These weren't casual questions. He genuinely wanted full answers. There were 6 people waiting behind him. I answered briefly and rang up his aspirin. He told the next customer that European service was technically polite, but emotionally distant. I charged him €8. He said that in America, pharmacists build relationships with customers. I told him I see 400 customers a day. He asked if that made me sad. I said no. He looked sad for me anyway. He left and told his wife, loud enough for me to hear, that Europeans don't value human connection. I valued getting through. The line before closing time. I'm a waiter at a cafe in Porto. An American woman sat down and asked about my day before looking at the menu. I said good afternoon and asked if she wanted a drink. She asked again about my day, adding that she genuinely wanted to know. I said it was fine and recommended our fresh lemonade. She looked disappointed and said, "You don't have to be so formal. We're all just people." I brought her the menu. She asked where I was from, how long I'd worked here, if I liked Portugal, and what my dreams were. Not restaurant-related dreams, life dreams. I told her I'd give her a few minutes with the menu. She said Americans actually get to know their servers as human beings. She ordered a salad and asked if I had any kids. I said I'd bring her order shortly. She told her dining companion that European waiters lack warmth. I brought her salad in 8 minutes. She said the service was efficient but impersonal. When I brought the check, she asked if people in Portugal were happy. Not a specific person, people in general. I said I couldn't speak for 11 million Portuguese citizens. She said that in America, we're not afraid to have real conversations. I thanked her and told her to have a good evening. She left a review saying the staff was polite but closed off. I served 40 tables that day. I don't have time for existential discussions with each one. I was working at a bookstore in Prague when an American woman struck up a conversation about the book she was buying. Normal so far. Then she asked if I was married, if I wanted kids, what my parents did for work, and whether I'd ever been to America. We had known each other for 90 seconds. I answered politely but briefly. She seemed offended and said, "I'm just trying to be friendly. Why are Europeans so guarded?" I wasn't guarded. I was a stranger selling her a book. She continued that in America, we don't treat conversations like interrogations. I hadn't asked her anything. She had asked me 7 personal questions. She then launched into her own life story, her divorce, her kids' college choices, and her sister's health problems. I nodded and scanned her book. She asked why I wasn't sharing anything about myself. I said I was working. She said work doesn't mean you shut down as a person. She paid and told me that European culture prevents real friendships from forming. We weren't forming a friendship. We were completing a purchase. She left, and I immediately helped the next customer, who was finished and bought 3 books in complete silence. It was perfect. 2 weeks later, another American asked about my love life while I was restocking shelves. Direct question, "Are you seeing anyone?" I said that was personal. He laughed and said, "Everything's personal if you let it be. That's what makes life interesting." I said I needed to finish inventory. He said Americans embrace openness, and that's why we're happier. I'm plenty happy. I'm just happy without discussing my relationship status with strangers in bookstores. I'm a tour guide in Athens. An American woman on a historical walking tour asked where I lived, how much I paid in rent, if I owned or rented, and whether Greek salaries were livable. These questions came between me explaining the Parthenon and pointing out ancient ruins. I gave vague answers and continued the tour. She pulled me aside during a break and said, "I feel like I don't really know you yet." We were 2 hours into a 4-hour historical tour. She didn't need to know me. She needed to know about the Acropolis. She asked about my family, my education, my political views, and my opinion on the Greek economy. I redirected to tour information. She told the group that European guides stick to scripts instead of being authentic. My script was literally Greek history. That's what she paid for. At the end, she gave me a bad review for being knowledgeable but impersonal. She wanted a new friend. She got a tour guide with a history degree. I work at a gym reception in Vienna. An American man tried to start a conversation every single day about deeply personal topics. Day 1, my fitness journey. Day 2, my diet and body image. Day 3, my dating life, and whether I was putting myself out there. I'm checking people into a gym. I'm not a life coach. He said he was just being friendly, and that in America, gym friends are real friends. I explained I talk to 200 people daily and can't have deep conversations with everyone. He seemed genuinely hurt and said, "Europeans keep walls up unnecessarily. I don't have walls up. I have professional boundaries." He asked if Austrians were afraid of intimacy. I said we were afraid of oversharing with the gym receptionist. He didn't laugh. He said American culture values authentic human connection. He kept trying, asked about my childhood, my relationship with my parents, my biggest regrets, my fears. I started pretending to be on the phone when he came in. He complained to management that I was avoiding member engagement. My manager, who is also Austrian, told him that asking staff about their deepest fears is not normal member engagement. He canceled his membership and wrote that Viennese gyms lack community spirit. We have community spirit. We just don't trauma dump on the front desk staff. I was managing a small hotel in Reykjavik when an American family checked in for a week-long stay. The father immediately wanted to know everything about me. Not hotel information. Me, personally. He asked about my family, my background, my life goals, my hobbies, my education, my favorite foods, and my opinion on American tourists. I gave brief, polite answers and explained their room situation. He seemed frustrated and said, "We're going to be here for a week. Wouldn't it be nice to actually connect?" I said I'd be happy to help with any questions about Reykjavik or the hotel. He said, "That's not what I mean. I mean really get to know each other." His wife joined in, saying that in America, hotel staff become like family during longer stays. I explained that Icelandic culture values privacy and that being polite doesn't require sharing personal details. The father said, "But we're not strangers anymore. We're neighbors for the week." We were not neighbors. I worked there. They were guests. Every single day, they tried to pull me into long, personal conversations. They asked about my childhood, my love life, my future plans, my opinions on Iceland's tourism industry, my thoughts on American culture, and whether I'd ever consider moving to the States. These weren't quick questions. They wanted full discussions. On day 3, the father said he felt like they still didn't know the real me. I had helped them book tours, fixed their Wi-Fi, recommended restaurants, arranged their rental car, and answered 47 questions about Icelandic culture. He wanted more. He wanted my life story. His teenage daughter apologized to me privately. She said her dad does this everywhere and doesn't understand that not everyone wants to be best friends. I appreciated her awareness. On checkout day, the father said their stay was perfect except for the emotional distance of Icelandic people. He said Americans open their hearts when traveling and wished Europeans would do the same. I thanked them for staying and wished them safe travels. He left a review praising the hotel, but noting that staff was professional but not warm. I had been warm. I smiled, helped with everything, gave recommendations, and was genuinely kind. I just didn't tell him about my childhood trauma or my dating history. Being friendly doesn't mean strangers get unlimited access to your personal life. I break down culture without moralizing. Just clear, pattern-based insight. If that's your speed, hit subscribe. It's how people who think 3 moves ahead keep finding nuance in the noise. And somewhere right now, another American is asking their taxi driver about their deepest fears and wondering why Europeans seem so distant.